My wife, Diane, is not okay. A few nights ago, she woke me up from a sound sleep. Listen! I was instantly awake. I couldn't get my eyes wide enough to see in the dark. There it is again. I still couldn't see, but I was trying. I was waiting for the gun to go off or the axe to fall or something. It's in the garage, she said, squeezing my hand so tightly the blood ceased to flow through my fingers. Several times I tried to get her to give me more information. Shh! What if he escaped from somewhere? Now she was letting her imagination run wild. What if he has a chainsaw? Suddenly, with a violent shove, she pushed me out of bed. Go see. In Ken Davis's book, Lighten Up, Ken Davis tells stories about being a husband and father. Today, I will share with you 3 of his many stories. One about being a husband, one about being a father, and one about being a security guard for his daughters. I realize I'm not speaking from experience yet. I am neither a husband nor father. But as an older brother, many situations have propelled me in the role of a security guard. Humor is a very important part of God's design relationships, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Oh. All right, so let me get this straight. You think there's someone in the garage? Yes, I heard a noise. And you think he escaped from somewhere? Yes. What if he escaped from one of those crazy places? And you're fairly certain he has a chainsaw? Yes. Like in those horror movies. One of these planning to cut us up. And you want me to confront him? In my Fruit of the Loom? How effective could I possibly be? I could just see myself stand in front of some burly psycho waving a chainsaw. Hey you! Take your chainsaw and get out of here! If he didn't respond, what would I do? Scare him by snapping the elastic on my shorts. Parenting isn't for weaklings. Parents must be stout at heart. They find this out quickly. But there's one task that strikes fear and desperation into the hearts of each and every one of them. You know the one. Trying to enforce bedtime. Children have this deep instinctive aversion to sleep. They'll climb any mountain, cross any river, or swim in the ocean to avoid closing their eyes. Our youngest daughter, Taryn, had devised a strategy of calling out religious questions from the bedroom. It's the old Pharisees maneuver.
Hey, Daddy, does God speak to us?
Yes, God speaks to us. Go to bed. We'll discuss it in the morning.
No, we must discuss it now. God just spoke to me.
Before I could work up the appropriate theological response,
He said I could get up.
How do you deal with that? Here's a child who doesn't even know the meaning of the word psychology, and she already has been placed in the palm of her hand, psyched out. Anyways, one night, the bedtime battle reached epic proportions. It was a battle raged with weapons of quick wit and childish charm. In other words, I didn't stand a chance. I'd been struggling for 30 minutes trying to get our other daughter, Tracy, to settle down. That's when I put my foot down. All right, you go to bed right this minute.
I would like to have
A drink of water. You can't have water.
Why?
Because you'll wet the bed.
I quit.
How do they do that? Do they have a game plan? They pull random thoughts out of thin air? Is this a run of original sin? Oh, I wasn't whipped yet. You didn't quit wetting the bed. You wet the bed last night.
The cat did that.
She said this without hesitation, without blinking. Maybe she was going to be a lawyer. Anyways, I ignored this opportunity to laugh, embrace this teachable moment. Instead, I made a move to protect my authority. Don't you tell me the cat did that! This part of the bed was the size of a large pizza. We only had this little kitty.
It wasn't our cat.
She was a professional. She was the best. Yes, she was going to be a lawyer. She was shocked that I wouldn't believe her. I grabbed her by the shoulders. You look me in the eyes and you tell me the truth.
I'm sorry, Daddy. But a big giant cat tore off the screen of my window. He jumped in my bed, he went in my bed, he jumped back out the window.
Seeing my skepticism, she continued.
He put the screen back on when he left. That's why it's still on now.
I was speechless.
was a big cat.
All right, I cannot believe you would lie to me like this. You go to bed right this minute, I don't want to hear another peep out of you. I learned this one from my father. Evidently, such sayings lose their power between generations. I could hear in the bedroom making tiny little peeping noises. After a few moments of precious, lovely silence.
Daddy, I want water and I want it now.
I only had one option. Don't make me come in there, or I'll give you a spanking.
When you come, bring water.
I let out a great sigh, knowing I had been beaten. All right, you go get your water, but then you go straight to bed, or I'll come in there. After about 20 minutes, I realized I hadn't heard the little pitter-patter of her feet returning to bed. Hey, Tracy, what are you doing?
I'm drinking water.
Nobody can be drinking water for 20 minutes. I was wrong. Children trying to avoid bedtime can do basically anything. I had opened the door and gazed upon a child who had been quietly sipping water for 20 minutes. Her belly looked like a basketball. All right, you go straight to bed. Of course, I closed my eyes and waited for the words I knew were to come.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Of course, I had to let her. Well, the big giant cat would be back. She still wasn't done with me. Not this night. Not Tracy. The next time I looked up, she was standing in the hallway with her hands on her hips and what you gonna do about this? Look in her eye. I, bolted from my chair and bound in clumsy pursuit, forgetting that God has equipped his little children to turn on a dime. She ran to the kitchen and hung a sharp right. I was wearing wool socks. On the linoleum floor with wool socks, there's no such thing as a sharp right. I spun out, lost control, and told my wife's new blender. I walked away from the crash a bit shaken, removing shards of glass from my body. Then, to my horror, I saw my daughter dash out the front door. My daughter is running down the street going, "Catch me, catch me!" I caught her, about a block away from her home. That's when I realized I was only wearing my moth-eaten wool socks and I ran the fastest 100-year dash of my life. Being a father of two girls isn't an easy role in our society. The hardest part comes when boys start taking an interest in your daughters. It's a crisis that demands wisdom and discernment. I remember the first boy that walked bravely up to the front door, asked if Tracy could come over and play. I told him my daughter wasn't that kind of girl. "You've got a lot of nerve. I don't want to see you hanging around here anymore." He took it quite well. He got in his little red tricycle and rode away. Several years after the tricycle incident, I was helping my wife Diane clear the table. And another young man darkened my threshold. I watched from the window as he approached the door and chickened out twice. Either he was afraid of my daughter or my reputation had gotten to him. Whatever the case, he was trying to work up the courage to ring the bell. On his third approach, I tiptoed to the door and slowly turned the knob. When I heard him step up to the bell, "What do you want?" He jumped back and his eyes got big and round as compact discs. That's when I realized I still had a large butcher knife in each hand. Shing. I'll give him this much. He approached again. "Hey, can Tracy come out, or can I come in? Do you now own, or have you ever owned a red tricycle?" I said, rubbing the two edges of the blades together. Shing. Before he could respond, I tapped one on the screen door. "You look a lot like the kid that killed my parents." He stepped back several more steps. "I'm just kidding. I killed my own parents. Come in." He did. But I'm sure the reputation got around about the Davis's dad. For now, every boy that comes over to our house stands far away and goes, "Is anybody home?" Some of them won't even get out of their cars. You know, recently, my youngest daughter, beautifully dressed in white, stood with me at the back of the chapel. As we were waiting for the ceremony to begin, she squeezed my arm and said, "I love you." I didn't cry. It didn't throw me off, though. When the preacher asked, "Who giveth this woman to this man?" I replied, "My mother and I do." It was a beautiful reception, and afterwards they left for their honeymoon. The four-wheel drive vehicle that they took up to the mountains was filled with camping equipment, clothes, and gifts. As they pulled away, what I thought I saw, packed in the back, beneath a backpack, a red tricycle.